Do 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 da 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 dum da 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 dum. Due diligence. This year, my friend Arin Dickson formed a new theater company that she dubbed Scapegoat Initiative. I met Arin when we performed together in a non-traditional presentation of William Shakespeare's play Timon in Athens a few years back, and I was ecstatic to lend her what support I could in promoting her premiere play, Jane Martin's Keely and Do, as well as being very excited to attend her performance. Keely and Do deals with the far-right fringe of pro-life, anti-abortion activists. To quote Wikipedia, Keely and Do is a theatrical play by Jane Martin. The play centers on Keely, a rape victim who became pregnant from a sexual assault and is being held captive by an extremist anti-abortion cult to prevent her from terminating the pregnancy, and Do, the cult member who is guarding her. The script and performance, especially the performance of rape victim Keely, portrayed by Achille Holder-Cozart, was astounding and soul-wrenchingly poignant. It is not for the weak of heart, and unless one is so far right that Z believes we should return to the dark, bad days prior to the year of my birth, 1961, then what is depicted on stage will rip at your gut as it portrays a kidnapped, chained to a bed, helpless Keely being held captive to ensure she does not abort her child conceived through rape. The script and the performance were especially meaningful to me as I have transitioned from wanting laws banning abortion except when needed to save the life of the pregnant woman to being center-left concerning laws controlling a woman's body that are intrinsically tied with pro-life anti-abortion legislation. Destiny determined that I would be born a boomer to parents who were born in the 1920s and grandparents born in the 1890s. 3 of my grands were Catholic and 1 converted to Catholicism when she married. Catholicism mattered a lot in my parents' house, and though none of their 5 children had become priests or received what we old folk call extreme unction, all 5 received every sacrament from baptism to a marriage mass. My father went to college via the GI Bill, eventually earning an EDD, and though he was not a Bible literist, his faith was extremely important to him as it was to my Rosie the Riveter mother. After marriage, my 2 sisters became born-again Christians and are vehemently opposed to abortion, opposed to a level commensurate with Keely and Do, but without the kidnapping in order to achieve forced birth results. I was decidedly anti-abortion as a child, as a youth, and as a young adult. I remember having a conversation in high school where young and dumb me used cruel language while conversing with some friends about abortion. Though my insensitive statement was not directed at anyone in particular, it led to one of the girls standing up from the table and running away. In retrospect, I have a horror that this poor child, we were age mates and roughly 16 years old, may have had an abortion. Though I'd stopped considering myself Catholic before my 1986 Catholic Mass wedding, my wife and I are so pro-life that we only use barrier method birth control because we didn't want to end a life through contraception that terminates a pregnancy during the blastula phase. We needed to prevent conception from occurring. By the way, that injunction was personal for us. I did not wish for others to be denied access to birth control pills, IUDs, or implants. During my life, I have participated in 3 protest rallies. The 1985 March for Life rally, an anti-abortion, pro-life protest in Washington, D.C. I wore an ERA Now button to that rally, which garnered me many a confused look, and 2 rallies in 2025, the Hands Off rally in April and the May Day rally in May. Both 2025 protests were in opposition to Donald Trump's through-the-looking-glass version of what America once was, as well as his moronic, or at the very least ignorant, sycophantic followers who revel in the man's evil hatred for all that is white and Christian, who blindly help him in this shredding of the United States of America as they work to return us to 1925. How did I go from marching to the D.C. Mall and listening to Ronald Reagan delivering a pro-life speech to protesting nearly all things elephantine in a 40-year span? For starters, I do have some capacity to learn and change, and I've grown a lot since 1974, and a bit more since 1985. I voted for Carter in 1980, and I took college classes on feminism in the early 80s. Just saying. My 2 born-again sisters, and particularly one of my sister's husbands, remind me a lot of Walter, though I don't think he'd go so far as to kidnap and chain a pregnant woman to a bed and force her to give birth. He'd just like to have no elective abortions. though I hope he'd allow those that are absolutely necessary to keep the pregnant woman from dying due to pregnancy complications. Do I wish abortions didn't occur? I do. But please don't think that my pro-life stance is based on any theology. I stopped considering myself a Christian before my firstborn son's baptism in 1991. Do I believe the state has the authority to place gestational limits on elective abortions? I do, though my gestational end date is rather milquetoast 20 weeks post-conception for elective abortions. While everyone should have autonomy over our bodies, a head does not have to crown before we have a distinct life who also deserves protection under the law. Do I think that forcing a woman to give birth is horrid, sexist, and inhumane? Absolutely, hence the 20 weeks for elective abortions. What about after 20 weeks? If the medical consensus is that a woman needs a late-term abortion to keep her safe, then she should have access to safe legal abortion. I need to add that my 20-week gestational limit goes out the window when a minor is pregnant. If a child needs to abort a fetus, then that child should have the right to do so. Why? Because whether pre-birth or post, children deserve and need protection. And forcing a child to give birth is something that should never happen. With liberty and justice for all.